Well, this is Indecisive Cinema, episode 56.
56.
I'm Jeremy Knight.
I'm Carlos Hernandez.
We remembered to do it. And today we're going to mainly talk about Project Hail Mary with some
Yes.
serious spoilers. So if you haven't
Yeah.
seen that, we'll get to our kind of overview thoughts right before we get into spoiler territory. And then I did see The Studio. We finished the show on Apple
Oh,
TV.
on
Seth
Apple.
Rogen.
Yeah.
Um, and we saw a documentary that's worth talking about called "Should I Marry a Murderer" on
Oh,
Netflix, a little
interesting.
murder doc. And then
Yeah.
Julio Torres has a HBO comedy special that I think is worth discussing. So that's kind of the agenda. It's going to be a definitely a shorter one this week.
Yeah.
It might be 25 minutes. I don't know. We'll see. But I
Yeah.
figured it was
If
better
we
than
do
not
longer, we
doing an
might get into
episode.
talking about Project Hail Mary for like an hour.
Yeah, we got. I mean, there's a lot to talk about there. I think I've
Yeah.
already reviewed it on the show. I forget when I
Yeah.
saw it. I think it was that week it came out, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Carlos saw it for the first time. So yeah, we'll have a lot to discuss. So it should be a
Yeah.
fun one. Anyway, well, I guess I'll just go through. I mean, the studio. I don't have a lot to say. It's really good. It's
Yeah.
like I mean, won a bunch of Emmy. Have you seen it?
I saw a few episodes of season one, and then I don't know what happened. I stopped watching. I got to watch it all.
I think it's
Yeah.
only one season currently. I don't know if it got renewed for another one or not, but
Oh, okay. So I
um,
could have sworn they were talking about season two this year, but
oh,
okay,
it's
maybe it's
possible.
not
It
coming
it
out
could
yet.
be coming out soon. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
Okay.
know.
All right.
We just finished it, so I haven't looked up anything in regards to when the next stretch. I think it came
Very,
out not.
very Altman-esque, very the player, which I
Oh
kind
yeah,
of digged, or dug.
yeah.
But like I said, I only saw like two episodes, I think it was. So.
Did you see the Oner episode where they're trying to film the Oner and he goes to set to watch it happen because he's all excited about it. The big one take shot.
Yeah, yeah, the one take
I think
shot, the
it's
one there.
episode two. It's great. It's like just a great episode of TV. It's like they've written in this idea that all the like whatever production one of the movies that they're having produced in the studio is under production, and they're trying to do this final one take shot that like ends the movie. And Seth Rogen's character, who plays a studio executive that runs the main studio that all these movies are being produced for, he like is like a big nerd, and so he wants to go to set to see it happen. He's like, oh, I just want to be there for that magic, and then he just keeps disrupting the process, and it's so it's a whole, and they do the whole episode as a oneer, which you may
The
have
one,
heard
yeah,
about.
of course. Yeah.
And so just like executing that like a true oneer while writing around the idea of trying to produce a oneer and failing
But
to do so. It's just a brilliant episode. There's like 5 or 6 episodes in this season that I think are unbelievably well executed for
well,
just a
yeah.
goofy, silly comedy. It's like a really great looking show. And some of the
Yeah.
set pieces, not just the Oneer episode, but there's like these like giant crane shots often in the series, and like there's one where Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen are like running and fall down a hill, and the camera like cranes down the hill with them, and then back up
Nice.
a hill where this
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
set piece unfolds, and it's like it's just for a comedy. I really think it's elevates the look and the execution of it elevates it beyond just
Yeah,
your
yeah.
typical sitcom. I would compare it to HBO's The Franchise, which I actually did enjoy. It got
Mhm.
canceled.
But it got canceled.
It was what's his name who did the Spectre Bond movie? Sam Mendes
Mendes.
executive produced it, and
Yeah.
but I like that show a lot. I feel like this takes a similar premise. That's like them trying to produce like a Marvel movie,
A
so it's just
Marvel
one
movie.
movie set. I think that this show has a little bit more opportunity because discussing the head of the studio, so you have a lot more opportunity to showcase different types of films, and they also have just like guest stars every
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Like Paul Dano's in the pilot. You've got what's his name from high school, Zac Efron. You got Olivia Wilde. You've got like the Bryan Cranston's like a kind of a he's in 2 episodes. Catherine O'Hara's amazing. Rest in
Yeah.
peace.
She, rest in peace.
She's actually in the cast for this
Yeah.
season, obviously. But she's so good in it, and this has got a great cast and really good guest stars that they write into, entire episodes, and so you just get I don't know, like Dave Franco shows up at one point and he's just great. And like there's just a lot of big names, and the way they use those big names is really fun. Just a
Yeah.
really good, really strong episode or season of television. I think it won a bunch of Emmys, so I guess I
Yeah.
shouldn't be
Yeah. It did.
surprised,
It
but
did. Yeah.
I think this is Seth Rogen's least annoying and most grounded character I've seen from him. He's really good in this, and like the character feels like a normal person.
Yeah,
And I like that he's kind of a movie nerd, and I like the way they write around. There's a whole Chinatown episode that's just
yeah,
amazing. It's like so well done. Yeah, I just a really strong season of TV. So couldn't recommend it more. And it's 30-minute episodes. You'll blow through it in a weekend.
yeah, yeah,
Bryan Cranston too. The finale is so goddamn funny. There's a moment with him that such a great piece of physical comedy. Anyway, yeah, again, man, we've got like three other things to talk about,
yeah. I know.
and they're all things I saw. Carlos didn't see much. I feel bad to just sit here and talk for an hour, but Should I Marry a Murderer is a documentary about. I'm trying to think how much I should discuss in terms of spoilers. Obviously,
Yeah. Well, I
the
haven't seen it.
title.
Spoil it, bro.
Well, I won't. I certainly. I just. It's more just the inciting incident of it.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, the title gives you some context for
Yeah.
what that could possibly be, but ultimately, it's a discovery about her this partner who she kind of rushes into a relationship with, and or at least a deep relationship with. This is a real story.
Yeah.
I think it's in Scotland. I want to say. And it definitely like a young like post. I mean, she's graduated college, but she's definitely young. She's probably 26. I don't know how
Hmm.
old, but definitely a documentary that has a ton of compassion for a flawed individual, or at least a character that made a lot of really poor decisions. And I think it doesn't let her off the hook for a
Yeah.
lot of the decisions she makes in this. And I think the obviously the title there's a murder kind of spin to it all, but it's really just an interesting exploration of like mental health and just being a victim to the justice system
Yeah.
and yeah, really fascinating, fantastic, really well executed documentary. There's a lot of great reenactments that are just really well tied into the narrative and not cheesy like you would see with normal
Yeah.
reenactments. Has a great sense of tone. It's like 3 episodes, so it doesn't feel there's a lot of those documentaries with the 3 hour documentaries that feel completely padded and bloated, but
Yeah.
I think there's an interesting story here and some crazy footage as well.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of white girl filming herself crying. That's pretty cringe. But I think they interview that woman as well and in the
Yeah.
documentary, and I think she's definitely aware of that. Some of the behavior was questionable, but yeah, it's just a really really strong, well told documentary that I think
Yeah.
it rises above the traditional Netflix crap.
Right.
Um,
A lot of it.
so anyway, that's Should I Marry a Murderer? One of our yeah, just like we got like just a couple things today. These are all just things I recommend, is really all this is. Julio Torres, known for SNL, he released a debut feature called Problemista last year or 2 years ago, I think, which I
Okay. Yeah.
love.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
saw that one. Yeah.
Great writer, really, just a fascinating, creative, like point of view on the world, and
Right.
a lot of his. He also has an HBO series. I think he executive produced Los Spookies, which is a
Yeah.
great title. And then there's another one I forget that's like kind of a sketch. I didn't love it, but I liked some of it. It's like all shot on like a soundstage. They do a lot of I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, he just has a really unique approach to visual storytelling, and this is just a comedy special, but it's about it's like looking through like it's an exploration of societal systems, but portrayed through the lens of like a satirical color categorization of those systems. So it's all about the colors. So it's like blue
Interesting.
and like like a navy blue person is a particular type of person that runs their life based on law and order. And it talks
Yeah.
about like systems in society or objects even that that are blue in nature. And there's a lot of great use of satire and just critical analysis of some of our just backwards logic and societal systems. But he just has a really imaginative brain and just a hilarious and fascinating perspective on the world.
Yeah.
I think he was from, I want to say El Salvador. I
Hmm.
forget, but
Interesting.
yeah, he Problem is also just another fantastic.
Yeah, Prometheus is really good. I like that one.
I've seen it a couple times, and Tilda Swinton's great in it, and it's such a strong debut feature. And he has a really strong grasp of just narrative arc and character building and just comedy. The way I mean that have you seen it though? Correct?
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
seen it?
I saw it a couple of
There's
years back.
the Chase Bank scene. I think is just a highlight for me, and the Craigslist monster. I think is it's a
Crazy
great.
Spots.
But it's also an interesting portrayal of like a an immigrant's
Yes.
the puzzle that an immigrant faces coming to America and trying
Coming
to
to
get
America.
work and just the silly loopholes that they have to jump through just to exist in society. And I think, but it's done with that's all there, and that's the foundation of what it's kind of discussing and exploring. But it's also just very funny,
Yeah,
consistently
yeah.
funny. So yeah, yeah, the Julio Torres is special. Let me look up the actual title of it. IMDb. I should know it's something with colors, but just want to make sure I get the title right. Color Theories by Julio Torres. He also has
Okay.
another special called My Favorite Shapes, which is really good as well. He does this thing where he will the logic of the joke writing is it's fantasy to some degree, like the literal logic of the jokes, and he's oftentimes personifying objects or colors,
Yeah,
but it makes sense logically, despite the fact that it is nonsense. And it just is a really unique perspective on comedy. So
yeah,
highly recommended.
definitely.
This is gonna be a 15-minute episode.
It's the
Project
um
Hail Mary. Let's why don't you introduce it because I've been talking for 45 minutes,
yeah.
and then
So
but
I will
without
say
spoilers for
this,
now.
you sold it, and I remember I was just like, we gotta go see it. But Rhonda was being ambivalent, and then my son saw it, and he loved it. That's all he talked about. I said, I gotta see this movie. Then like a week ago at work, um, they were talking about something, and they were like, "Oh, what are we going to do this weekend? We're going to go to the movies." And everybody was saying, "Oh, you got to go see Project Hail Mary." And I was like, "Damn, I got to see this movie." But I loved it. Basically, the premise, and it's another thing I kind of liked. I normally I find it annoying when we go back and forth in time,
Sure.
but a man who we find out later is a scientist wakes up on a spaceship.
Am I smart? I
Huh?
love that part.
Am I
I love
not
that.
good?
Am I smart? How do I know that? That's all from the book,
Oh,
by the
first
way.
he's like, ah, he's
Yeah,
like, he doesn't even
yeah,
know how to
yeah.
talk.
They just start screaming though. He's like,
Screaming
ah!
and shit. And then I like when the robot goes to him, he's like fighting the
Yeah,
robot.
yeah.
But basically he wakes up and comes to realize that he's on a mission. He was with two other scientists who unfortunately passed on the trip, which they never get into, but that's fine.
There's a little bit
Um,
more detail of. I mean, it's not really that complex. Why? But I mean,
no,
it's
no,
just
yeah. I
the
mean, they
risk
said that
of
he
going
might
into
not
cybersleep is really just what it
cybersleep,
is.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um, and he finds out that he has to find out how to save Earth from, I guess you could say, virus that's eating the stars, and then in this case, it's eating the
astrophage.
sun. And in his, exploration of this, he ends up, and I love the scene with the spaceship, the
Yeah,
alien
yeah, yeah.
spaceship, Rocky spaceship, and he finds out there's another scientist as well who's also in the same situation as he is, and they actually through some funny circumstances they do come together, and
I guess we're getting into spoiler
yeah,
territories. I think it's worth saying. We're gonna spoil the thing. I just
yeah, 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 yeah.
worth. I mean, you said you liked it though. Would you
Oh
recommend
no,
it to
I
people?
I, I loved it. The ending is divisive, and I guess more because the film is so good, it's so fun, it's so upbeat. It's a positive film, but I guess I wanted it to be more like the way I thought it would be. It's still fun, and I like what happens to him at the end. And again, we'll get to spoilers once Jeremy says so. But I just thought he would go where we all thought he was going to go. but yeah, basically that's. But I loved it. I laughed. It's like you said. It's like for a film about science and everything. It flows. It's well written. It's
Sure.
very funny. Even with the alien, which I told you I thought was cheesy, it actually worked. I like the fact that he ended up using math with the language, and then he Rocky talks to us, and I love it. It's just so fun.
That's good
But
stuff.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really do, and I do. I want. I'm this weekend around this. I'll give it a chance. I think we're gonna go see it in theaters because
Nice.
it's still
Yeah.
out there. It's still playing
Yeah,
well.
yeah, I saw it this week too, for the third time, and I would also highly recommend it. I mean, I did review it in a little more detail
Yeah,
without spoilers because you hadn't seen it on one of the episodes. You can go find it, but I think
yeah.
it's like 50, episode 50 or 51.
50. Yeah, 50.
But yeah, yeah, it's anyway, we're getting into spoilers at
Yeah,
this point. Before I forget, I want to speak to the ending you're talking about.
yeah.
So, I think there's this idea at the core of the film. I don't think the book has an overarching near traditional cinematic structure.
Mhm.
I mean, there's somewhat there, but I think it's a little more. It's not loosely broken into like a first, second, third act kind of
Yeah,
traditional arc. In the movie, I think you have this idea of him discovering who he is,
yeah, yeah.
um, and then there's a line by one of the scientists that I think kind of pinpoints this idea of whether or not he's brave. Rocky says that at one point to him, and there's a
Yeah,
scientist as well on Earth, one of the ones that passes away, that says something along the lines of like, you just need to find somebody to be brave for, right?
four. Yeah.
And I think in that ending, which it does differ. I don't know that it doesn't differ from the book in terms
I
of
was
the
going to ask you
choice
that
that's
if the
made.
book is yeah.
I think the stakes of his decision to go save Rocky are
Right.
a little bit more clear in the book, or at least the sacrifice that's being made is different. Obviously, like choosing not to return home is
Yeah.
something, but in the book, there is an idea. He's going through like how long he can live on his way back home to Earth,
Yeah.
and the amount of food that he has. That's a big part of that discussion, at least
Yeah.
in his head, about like, do I have enough? Am I willing to stay awake for 4 years, living off of sludge and just being alone for all that time? And when he chooses to go save Rocky at the end in the book, there's this concept that he's essentially sacrificing his own life to do
Right. Of
so.
course. Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, in the movie, he's sacrificing his ability to go home.
Home.
But I think we also established that there's really not much there
Nothing
for
there
him.
for him. Yeah. Besides
Um,
the kids he teaches, and now
sure.
they're all grown up anyway. So
Yeah, for sure. Or dead. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it's hard to know. But yeah, I think ultimately, though, in the book, he's choosing to starve to death because
Yeah.
he's almost certain that there's a good chance that they won't be able to produce food for him on the planet that Rocky's from.
Yeah.
And so I do think there's at least more of a selflessness to the decision. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it is still selfless in the movie, but I think again, the stakes are different in the book, I think. And I don't quite know if that translates the same way, but I do think, again, I think that whole concept of like finding the reason for why you should be brave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Him being there was not a brave decision. It was an act of cowardice, if
Coward.
anything.
He basically got shanghaied. And I like
Yeah.
that.
And that's
He
straight
said, "No,
from the
I can't
book.
do this," and then
Yeah.
they drug him and throw him on to the spaceship, which I think is fucked up. But I'm glad, I
Yeah.
mean, they had to.
It's an understandable
Yeah, yeah, of
decision
course, and
for
that's what I'm
Strahd.
saying. Yeah, and I'm glad they made that choice. Well, I mean, obviously in the book that's how it is, but in the movie, how he does, oh, I can't do this, and he's like, he's not brave, and they force him in that role in
Hmm.
the end, and I kind of dig that. I thought that was a
But
really good
because she
choice.
believes in him, I think, which is an
Yeah,
interesting.
of course,
And
yeah, she
another
does.
thing that actually does kind of differ in the ending, is this idea that he's still bitter to Strat for that
Yeah,
decision. I think in the book, he's to some degree doesn't really recognize that she was right.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
maybe to a degree, but I think in the movie, there's definitely more of a recognition of
Of
that in
recognition.
the
Yeah,
video
yeah,
message that he sends back,
yeah, yeah.
which I think is an interesting departure, at least for the character. And I think, again, I think it's a recognition of, the fact that like you believed in me, and everything is owed to you for
Who to
doing
you?
so.
Yeah,
Which I think is lost in the book. So there's a lot of like subtle changes to the way they present ideas and definitely a consolidation of a lot of the science from the book, at least in terms of like in the book, it's a lot of inner monologue, like him literally performing science experiments, and we're
Yeah, you were saying
reading his
that.
problem solving, and I think you lose some of that in the movie,
Yeah, well, a lot of
but it's
that,
at
but I think
least
it makes it more accessible
yes,
because it, like I said, there's nothing boring about any of it. And even when he does do any, calculations, it's
it's
very quick and he
montage,
comes to
yeah.
the point. And
It's
but
not like in
yeah, I
Interstellar,
guess
which
it's
is I think
accessible
I
because I mean, I'm not a science guy, but
sure.
I believed in the science, and I thought that was really cool. The astrophage and and that was the one thing I was like, so you mean Rocky on his planet they can't produce enough astro? But I understand that you're saying like there's nothing home for him anyway. So
No, the food. They couldn't produce the food
for him to go home, that okay, that was in the
no,
book.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
no, 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 for him to eat when he gets to the planet.
When he
Like
gets to the
he would
planet. But
run out
that's
of
why I'm saying,
food
like,
on Rocky's
why
planet.
wouldn't they produce the fuel, the astrophage, to send them back home if that became an
He
issue?
wouldn't have enough to get home either way.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. He had just enough food for like I think it's like 4 years or something,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
11
he said
days.
4 years. Yeah,
Yeah, so he had enough food for that, but it would take them a certain number of years to get to Rocky's planet.
yeah.
And then to be able to get him home would take him another,
Another, yeah, you're
in the
right. Okay,
book, I think
you're right.
there's like a silly solution to it. I want to say like Rocky's like, no, 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 we literally could just do this, I think is what happens. And he's like, oh, I
Yeah,
never
in the book.
considered that. Again, I think there's some kind of, the solution is the end of the movie is exactly the book.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a slight difference in the scene on the beach in the movie we see that Earth succeeds, and I think
yeah.
it's told brilliantly with one single shot of the astrophage being eaten in the Petrova line,
Nice.
like in Earth's solar system, and I guess Rockies at the same time. But like
Yeah,
you see this great shot of the Petrova line just being eliminated essentially, and it's just a 5 second shot, and it tells us everything we need to know, which is great. And you see Strahd, you know that Earth has at least made it to the point. And there's in the book, I think that they tell Grace, Rocky or somebody tells Grace that they've gotten notice that Earth has found a solution and has been able to reverse the sun's
good. Yeah,
dying.
I mean, we get a sense when Straught's like, "All right,
Yeah,
guys, let's get it going," and they all
totally.
run, and
That's
so we
told
do get that
visually in the
sense
movie to
anyway.
the
But yeah,
audience,
it is kind
but
of
the
open-ended.
character
So
doesn't get that in the book, and that's
yeah, yeah,
slightly different because I think that that's a big moment that I do kind of wish we had seen where he's kind of discovered like, oh, like I did it, I
yeah,
succeeded in my mission, and everyone is saved, and that's an emotional thing that I think is kind of we get the emotion of it, but I don't think the
yeah,
character does. I think that's just an interesting. But other than that, though, him teaching like it ends on the same line. Oh my gosh.
yeah. Hey, yeah, and I thought that was cute too. Him and being a
Yeah.
teacher on his planet, regardless.
It's a fun
Teaching
ending.
yeah, that was cute. I liked it.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think like when I first saw it, I finished the book like 24 hours before seeing the movie for the first time. So I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
definitely like coming off the heels of like really being invested in that story and I think the first viewing of it for me felt like watching the Spark Notes of the
yeah,
book where you're like, "Oh man, this is the pacing of it because you have an expectation of what's there so
yeah,
clearly because I just read it."
yeah,
I think having seen it, for the second time, I really enjoyed what was there more and just appreciated it for what was there, not
yeah,
doing the comparison thing. And I think the third time through, I think it does really work as a movie. And obviously, there's some departures. I think it's actually very faithful, though. I've had some
yeah,
arguments with friends about that that concept of, what makes something faithful. Is it, you can't include everything. So, I mean, I think
yeah. No, of course not. No,
the comparison I keep making in those conversations is like seeing the theatrical cut of Lord of the Rings and saying that that's not faithful,
faithfully, yeah,
and then seeing the extended cut and going, "Oh, it's very faithful."
faithfully, yeah,
There was just some gaps that got cut for the sake of runtime. I think apparently Amazon has a 4 hour cut of this that's sitting somewhere, which was the initial Phil Lord, Christopher Miller cut. So I think we're supposed to get a director's cut of it, especially because of how successful it's been.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if
Oh,
it'll get a
definitely. I would love to
theatrical
see
release.
that. Yeah, I would love to see the director's cut of this. Yeah,
I
I
do
saw that it
think
was
though, that's a long movie, and I think you could almost make that like a Hateful Eight like miniseries almost. I think that would maybe be
Yeah,
a better way to approach it because you could easily do like a you know like an episodic you know like, just segmented version of it.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but at 2.5 hours, it is relentless. And I
Hmm.
think the third time through, I kind of did. I've heard that from people that like they're just like, oh man, this it's nonstop. And I think
Yeah, it
uh,
is. Yeah,
despite the
and you don't
karaoke
feel like I
scene,
like you see the runtime when you start it, you're like, ah,
yeah.
but I didn't feel it. It was so good. It was so entertaining. It gets you into the whole science. I didn't even notice. I was like, holy shit, it's over. It's going over. So I was kind of upset. But yeah, I like that a lot. I love the film and definitely want to see it again. So
I think for me, in the book, the thing that was the most emotionally resonant for me was when he leaves Rocky, which is still a moment in the movie, I think. But in the movie, I think the most emotionally resonant moment for me is when Rocky says, "I can give you the astrophage you need," and there's this moment of recognition that
yeah,
he's going to
that
be
that
able to go home.
yeah,
Uh,
that made me tear up a bit. I was
it's a
like,
good,
oh my
it's a
god.
great moment. I think Ryan Gosling is actually extraordinary in this film. I think he's
Yeah,
just
he
a
is. He's really good. Yeah.
I don't know that you could cast a better person for this role. I mean, maybe like a Brad Pitt in his young prime,
Yeah, in his
maybe.
prime. Yeah, in
But
his
he's
prime.
the only guy I can think of. I mean, he's still great, but just yeah, I think you need a younger actor for this role.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like Ryan Gosling is just one of the few people that has the charisma and dramatic acting chops to be able to pull off a character that is as goofy as this character is,
Yeah.
while still bringing a humanity to the role.
Exactly. I agree with that. Yeah.
And I think you know I just I really like I think it's a very hard thing to pull off the tone that this movie achieves and it work at all emotionally because it
Yeah.
is there's like moments of physical comedy that are like borderline slapsticky. I mean, like when he first turns on the centrifuge and gravity turns back on. There's this great visual of him like dropping to the floor and
Lord.
settling as gravity comes back, and then he just like immediately trips over like a he just trips over something and falls like immediately,
Falls. Yeah.
which is great. But yeah, and then when he like first gets the little tank, the blip from Rocky, and it gets shot at the ship and he like gets
Yeah.
it he like grabs it and then immediately gets tugged on the rope and then raises up in the air. It's just a fun,
Yeah. There's so many
hilarious,
like I
fun
love
little
like
moment.
which is so comedy. Like when Rocky crashes the ship, like he's like, "Oh, you don't come to a door in and out." So he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
where do you sleep?"
Yeah.
I thought that was really cute.
I like the like reality TV show like interview approach for that whole relationship. Like, you know, the I can't get any space, you know, and he's like,
He's
can
like,
you hear
"Who are you
this?
talking to?"
Yeah, yeah. Hi Rocky or hi Grace friend.
Like,
I just I love the vlog thing. One of my favorite things I think the movie my favorite change because again, and I think I talked about this when I reviewed it, but I think it's very hard to adapt something where the entire film and all the dialogue, other than the stuff on Earth, is told through monologue,
Someone's
or you
head,
know,
yeah.
and I think the film does a great job of changing. It's really just two big things. One is the vlog,
The
which I think
vlog.
gives you it's a comedic, but also just a it's a way for the character to talk to camera without it
Yeah.
being, you know, voiceover or
Voiceover.
him
Yeah.
going, "Wow, I wonder what that means." You know, like I just you could do it that way and it just wouldn't fall flat. And then the other thing is the Carl character. I think is a really good. It solved the embellishment of that character because in the book he's discussed in the book by
Yeah.
name as a security guard that Grace likes more than the others because he like buys him. I forget. I think he brings him snacks or something. Is like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bit in the book, but he has a little more personality than the other scientists or the other security guards.
Security. Yeah.
In the movie, though, I think he serves two purposes. I think I think he serves as somebody for Grace to bounce ideas off of
Off.
auditor like
Yeah.
through, you know, by speaking to someone else so that he's not just talking to himself or
Yeah.
voicing over.
And a
Um,
regular person outside of all the scientists.
yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think they bring him back for that second act, reveal that and him saying like, who you are. I think it's just a
Yeah.
good. I think there's this chemistry between the two of them that again, it solves a narrative purpose to the film, but I think it adds a little bit to that drama, and I think
Yeah.
brings some humanity to the scientists. It was just a nice little change.
Yeah.
And Lionel Boyce from The Bear is great in that role. I love when
Yeah.
he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Are you
Yeah.
sitting
I didn't even
down,
know.
Carl?"
I didn't realize it even in the trailer. And then when we saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, this is the guy from the Bear."
Yeah, he's great. He's great in The Bear too. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah, he's amazing. I
I like
love
that
him.
line where he's like, "Carl, are you sitting down?" He's like, "No, I'm standing like a grown man." I also love the scene where they go to like Home Depot and they're like
Yeah.
looking
Right. And
the buy. He
he goes,
asks
"I
him if
don't
he
have
can
any
buy the
money." He
sour
goes, "Well, I
Skittles.
do." Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, yeah. Do we have a what is it? Do we have an expense account?
Bank
Nope,
account. He goes,
but I do.
"Nope, but I do."
And I love when they're like, "Do you guys have any coupons?" He's like, "We don't need coupons. We're the government." It's like, "Which government?" All of
Yeah,
them.
right. She goes, he goes, "All of
It's a
them."
good script though, and I think you got to give a lot of credit to Andy Weir for obviously writing the book,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah.
also being a part of the adaptation of the film.
Yes.
It's a perfect example of like you think of like all the Stephen King adaptations and how he just has a complete lack of understanding of how movie narrative should be written. And this is a writer that I think really understands
Yeah.
movie structure better. He also they brought in Daredevil guy. He directed Cabin in the Woods. What's his name?
Oh, Drew Goddard.
Drew Goddard co-wrote the script with Andy
Yeah.
Weir.
Yeah.
So I think you brought in a Hollywood screenwriter, a proven Hollywood screenwriter that understands science fiction. Like I think you could do Alex Garland too, would be another good pick for
Yeah.
this, but it would
Yeah.
bring
I think I've
I don't think he
scored
could do the
fine.
humor though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the two of them combined for just a really great adaptation of a very complex hard science not no hard sci-fi novel that people said would be very hard to adapt. And yeah, I think what's there is very technically impressive and
Yeah.
highly entertaining, and I think the kind of movie that it's going to make $1 billion, for a
Yeah.
reason.
I mean, it's been out for already 2 months. It's
Yeah,
gonna go
which
on,
in this
It's
day and
gonna,
age is,
yeah.
I mean,
I know,
come on.
right? That's what I was gonna say because how many movies, even yeah, nowadays last more than a month and then they go straight to streaming.
Yeah,
This movie's still doing well on the big screen 2 months later, and I'm very proud of that. That's good. Yeah.
good for movies. And there's a great line in the studio where it's in the pilot where Seth Rogen goes to Catherine O'Hara's, I forget their names, I apologize, the characters names, but he goes to her house and she got fired from the job that he gets put into. And there's this line where she's like, they're talking about just how much it sucks to be the studio head, where it's like
Yeah.
it's the coolest thing to be able to decide which movies get made and which ones don't, but then I also feel like I'm responsible for destroying cinema. And she's like, yes, but when you make a good movie, when it all comes together and you make a good film, it's good forever. And I
Ever.
think it's a great line in a really dumb comedy, but I think like with Project Hail Mary, like this is like it's a technical marvel, and I think it's
Yeah.
the spectacle. This is like a really expensive, just the scale of this project, even just the military stuff, like
Yeah.
executing that um, is not an easy thing to do, especially in 2026.
Yeah.
Even with Ryan Gosling at the helm and good directors involved, like just to have a good directors that can nail this tone, like it's magic. It's lightning
Yeah.
in a bottle. It doesn't
I
happen
agree
very
with that.
often. I
Yeah.
think as much as it might not be the emotional masterpiece of something like, Interstellar or, one of those other science fiction films that you could, I don't know if it has the emotional resonance of it. I still think it's just a marvel, and it's the kind of movie that you don't see very often.
Definitely.
So,
I agree with that. Yeah.
but yeah, I'm glad you liked it though. It's
Oh yeah,
worth seeing on the big screen if
I'm
you can.
glad. I'm glad. When you told me it was on Plex, I said I gotta watch it. Then I gotta watch it. And yeah, now I want to see it in theaters. You're right. It has to be seen on a big screen, no doubt.
Sorry, by the way, I don't know if this happened to you, but my in-laws were talking about how there's some random Russian subtitle or like closed captioning
Yeah, that did happen.
in the
Yeah,
Plex edition. It's like there's definitely a bootleg copy of Project Hail
but
Mary
yeah,
here.
but we went looking for another stream of it, and it's the only one so far. So we'll just have to wait till they get a better
I mean, I
screen.
can
But
probably find a
but
better
yeah,
one now,
even with
but
the aspect rate, not the aspect ratio, the 180, 180, 780p, and I was like, it was kind of at points, a little like, pixelated or whatever, but it didn't stop me. I still
It's
watched
because
the
the
whole
bit
thing
rate,
because
what
it was
happens
so
is
good.
when you reduce the quality, the bit rate of the file
Yeah,
goes to like 1 megabits per second. It's like,
it's,
and so anything with lots of movement, it just ends up getting, it just degrades completely.
yeah, it's like when there's just straight scenes, nobody moving around, it clears up perfectly. Then
Yeah.
that when they start moving again, and you don't anticipate it.
Yeah,
But
anything with action in general, it's going to struggle with. But we are. I mean, I think I told you. You already know about this, but no, we didn't talk about it on the podcast yet. But
yeah,
we did get approved for the rental house, so we will be
yes.
moving at the end of this month, which will this impacts no one except for Carlos and myself. Plex having a real internet provider.
Yeah, yeah.
Centric
Amen.
Fiber is not a real internet provider for those
It's
that. It's fine for everything, but maybe gaming and
yes,
running a
yeah. I
Plex
was gonna
server.
say.
But yeah, having a static IP address is going to be a clutch for remote viewing of my Plex library. So, um,
I can't
anyway,
wait.
but yeah, sorry about the Russian subtitles.
Like I said, it didn't matter to me. It was like it was fine.
I just think
But
it's a
yeah,
fun,
no, I
it's a
appreciate that,
hilarious
and yeah,
thing that that
I'm glad I saw it. It's a great film, and I think everyone should see this movie. It's so good.
did you do a pick of the week?
No, I'm sorry because, like I said, with
I
everything that
didn't
happened with
either.
my daughter's birthday,
I didn't either.
um, but yeah, I mean, I did not. I'm sorry.
How
What's
about
yours?
this? Let's do the player. This will be both of our. You brought
I
it up
know that will
earlier.
work with
It's
yeah,
relevant to the
definitely.
studio, not the main movie that we're talking about today, but
Yeah,
yeah, the
the player.
player.
Robert Altman's The Player is one a really great film. Very funny, nice mystery. And again, with guest stars, it's like there's so many big actors in that movie
Yeah.
cameoing and playing themselves. I love it. Yeah.
I love anything that dives into like an industry in that way. It
Yes.
reminds me of like something that social network writer Aaron Sorkin would do. Like just like a dive into, I mean, obviously this is an industry that I don't work in movies, but I do work in video production. It's an industry that I understand a lot of, but I love movies and television that are like The Newsroom, something like that. That was
Yeah,
Sorkin,
yeah.
I think.
Have you
Um,
seen his Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip yet?
I have not. No.
You
Is
got to
it?
watch. Aaron Sorkin writes it, directs a couple episodes, but it's basically well, I don't say dramatic, but it's also darkly funny. But it's about like a SNL type show,
Mm.
and the new writer comes in and she changes things up, and what's his name? Wilford Brimley. I know him sound like one of his normal actors, and oh my god, who just passed away? Oh my god, Chandler Bing. Um, they play like the head writers of the show,
Mm.
and it's so well done. And Aaron Sorkin's scripts are amazing. But you should, I think you would dig it because since we dig film, but we also dig television. I think you would dig that. So it's Studio
Yeah.
60 on the Sunset Strip.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
should check that out.
I've heard that title. I don't. I've seen a lot of Sorkin stuff. I don't know that I definitely haven't seen all of it. But is that
Yeah.
more recent or is it older?
No, that came out. I want to say 15 years ago.
Oh, okay,
It
gotcha.
came out a long time
Because
ago.
didn't he do West Wing? Was that him?
Mhm.
So is it pre West
That's
Wing?
where he made. Yeah, after West Wing, this was his first series afterward.
Mm.
And it lasted a season, but I think they only aired the first 5 episodes. But
Oh
then they
wow,
released it on DVD, and
gotcha.
you had the whole complete thing. And I watched
Nice.
it, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing. But I guess nobody wanted to see at that time a show about a show,
That's
and
fair.
how the studio is like winning all the awards. So it's
Sure. Yeah.
it's really but you definitely, I think you would dig it because I know you like Aaron Sorkin's scripts because they're so tight, and
Hmm.
meaty. So yeah,
Sometimes they're a little too much, but I do think a lot of them are very like I like the Steve Jobs movie that he wrote.
yeah, yeah,
Social Network, obviously, he's got just a lot of great stuff. But
yeah.
yeah, I think on the topic of shows or movies about something and talking about SNL specifically, I think that Saturday Night movie, is it Saturday Night?
That
Is
came
it
out
Saturday?
last year. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I forget if it had live in the title or not,
No,
but
it was
yeah,
a
that
Saturday
kind of
night.
reminded me of something like that though, where it's like it's just a behind the scenes kind of chaotic
That's a great movie too.
tightrope.
I
I think
love
it's
it.
actually very good. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's a really fun movie, but very well executed as well. Just kind of a tightrope act.
yeah.
just kind of chaotic behind the scenes depiction of one of the defining moments of television history.
Television, yeah, live
Great
television.
cast too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck.
But yeah, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. Anyway, the studios like that, worth a watch for sure.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
all these things on the list are worth a watch
Yeah.
this week. But yeah, that's a wrap. I mean, we
Yeah.
didn't have a ton to talk about. I think we found a way. We found a way
No,
to get
yeah,
there.
yeah. And I know people I mean I just think it's good that the movie's building momentum and
Yeah.
maybe this episode to get more people to go see it. But yeah, definitely I recommend that movie. Yeah. So
Well, yeah. Well, that's episode 56 of Indecisive Cinema. I'm gonna try and go see Hokum or something
yeah,
this
I want
weekend.
to see Holcomb.
We were gonna go see it, and then Marissa was like, "I want to see it." I'm like, "Ah, "No, I'm never gonna see
What?
it. I'm never gonna see it because
Rhonda said the same thing. So I was
she's
like,
too busy to go see things. It's a busy part of the year, but yeah.
yeah,
So hopefully I'll be able to convince her to go see something one of these days.
yeah,
But yes. Otherwise, we'll talk about what we're gonna do next week. I
yeah,
haven't.
yeah, yeah. You'll text me and we'll go into it.
Sounds good, man. Well, thanks for doing this, and
Yeah, yeah.
those of
This
you that are still listening, thanks for listening, and yeah, go
we'll
see
see you on
Project
the
Hail Mary.
next one. You guys take care.